Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The expanse of space flickered with distant stars, a backdrop of chaos wrapped in the shadows of the intergalactic war. Before it stood the Krenithan flagship, a gargantuan warship known as the Dominion's Reach. Its hull bore the scars of battle, its surface gleaming under the dim light of far-off suns. But the most haunting sight for those who dared to linger was the woman strapped to its hull, a living trophy amongst iron and steel. Ilara, an alien of the Ruzan race, was stunning. Her iridescent skin shimmered with hues of green and gold, reminiscent of the dense forests of her home world. Her long, flowing hair, like starlight cascading through the darkness, framed her face, now marred by chains that chained her to the ship. Each day, she gazed out at the infinite void, lost in thoughts of her family and her fallen comrades, her spirit dimmed by her captivity. Meanwhile, deep within the bowels of the repair ship that serviced the Dominion's Reach, Liam toiled away as a mechanic. The hum of machinery filled the air, a monotonous rhythm he had grown accustomed to. A human amongst alien clamor, he was a quiet rebel, yearning for a chance to change the oppressive world around him. He had witnessed the destruction brought by the Krenithans, a brutal regime that cowed civilizations into submission. Liam's calloused hands worked deftly on the machinery before him, but his mind wandered. He had heard the stories of the trophies, what they meant, what they cost. The whispered fears of his fellow crew weighed heavily on him, tales of what happened to those who dared to stand against the Krenithans. But it was not fear that guided him, it was anger, a burning desire for justice. Today, however, something felt different in the air. As the repair ship approached the Dominion's Reach for routine maintenance, Liam's work took him closer to the hull than ever before. He could see her Ilara, strapped to the side, like some gruesome ornament amid the warship's accolades. His heart raced as disbelief washed over him. He had seen her in brief glimpses through the ship's records, but nothing could prepare him for the sorrow in her brilliant eyes. Without thinking, Liam took a step closer, entranced by her presence. He held his breath, his tools forgotten. How could something so beautiful embody such despair? "Hey," he murmured, the word barely escaping his lips. To his astonishment, Ilara's eyes flickered to his, filled with a mix of caution and curiosity. There was a spark there, recognition perhaps? "Who dare speak to me?" Her voice was soft yet powerful, a melody that resonated against the cold metal of the ship. Liam straightened, suddenly self-conscious and aware of the tensions of their different worlds. I'm Liam, a mechanic," he stammered. "I'm here to work on the ship." Ilara studied him for a moment, a fire igniting in her gaze, and Liam felt the weight of the universe shift. The connections would form, emotions would awaken. They stood worlds apart, yet in that fleeting moment, the chains binding her could not dampen the ember of rebellion igniting inside him. As they exchanged words and stories, the lines of their worlds began to blur, the fate of the stars woven into the echoes of their pasts. Liam's heart raced as Ilara turned her piercing gaze toward him. The magnificence of her trapped form almost overshadowed the hopelessness that hung heavily around her. He knew he should focus on his work, yet all he could think about was the woman before him. Her quiet strength radiated through her chains. "I didn't think anyone would care to speak to a trophy," she replied, a hint of defiance lacing her tone. Her spirit, despite the circumstances, was unyielding. Liam took a breath, captivated by her words that felt like a challenge. "Not a trophy. You're a person. Not just an object," he responded, the words tumbling out before he could rein them in. Infuriatingly, the Krenithan regime had stripped her of her dignity. Yet here she stood, resilient and proud, even while bound. Ilara tilted her head, eyes narrowed as if assessing him. "And why would you care about me, human? Your kind watches as we suffer." I can't change what others do," Liam stammered, heat rising to his cheeks under her scrutiny. "But I can't just stand by and watch. I've seen what they do to beings like you." His conviction sparked something within Ilara, a flicker of hope in the dimness of her reality. "Tell me, Liam," Ilara continued, her voice lowering. Do you truly believe one human can make a difference? You are but a whisper amidst a storm of darkness. Maybe, he admitted, but whispers can grow louder. Together, we can do something. I just need to know what I can do to help you. The sincerity in his voice seemed to surprise her. The flicker of connection now a bright flame. The silence hung between them, charged with unspoken tension. The underlying threat of the Crenithans and the fragile hope sparked by their bond. Elara took a moment to assess him, the moment lingering like an eternity before she broke the spell. I have seen the truth, and it is bleak. But if you truly seek to help, I will trust you, she decided, a crinkle of determination crossing her brow. You must learn the secrets of this ship. I know its weaknesses, where the guards are not watching. That's a start, Liam replied, a rush of adrenaline surging through him. I can sneak in and out to gather tools and supplies. We can plan something. As days turned into weeks, a routine developed between them. Every chance he got, Liam would make his way to her side when no one was looking. He would observe the warship's patterns, learning the guard shifts and weaknesses, while Elara would tell him of her people, their culture, their artistry, the way they loved fiercely. Liam learned that Elara was not just a fierce warrior, but also an artist, showcasing the art of her people in tales woven through her stories, transporting him to a world he could barely comprehend. He shared the struggles of his own kind, tales of rebellion against the Crenithans, illuminating the vastness of their differences, yet bringing forth the common thread of defiance that united them. With each conversation, a kinship blossomed, a warmth in the cold expanse of space. Liam's heart raced with an intensity that startled him. The feelings he harbored for her were undeniable and fundamental, like gravity pulling at his soul. Yet the reality of their circumstances crawled ever closer. On one such day, as Liam leaned against the hull, collecting his thoughts, Elara's voice edged into his consciousness once more. "What do you see when you look at me, Liam?" she asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Liam blinked, taken aback by the softness of her question. "I see strength, someone who fights for her people even in chains. But I can't help but see the suffering too," he replied honestly. Her expression softened, eyes glistening with unspoken emotions. "Do you not fear me then? Or what would happen if others discovered our secret?" "I fear what will happen if we do nothing," he replied, taking a step closer. "But it's not just fear. It's what I want to fight for. You deserve freedom, Elara." The words hung in the air, charged with a deeper understanding between them. "I never expected a human to care this much," she said, a hint of a smile ghosting her lips. "Perhaps there is hope yet, little mechanic." Their bond deepened with each passing moment, creating a tangled web of emotions that intertwined, drawing them into an inevitable entanglement. Liam felt a mixture of dread and exhilaration. They were two souls brought together by a cruel fate, yet each heartbeat felt like a rebellion against the chains of despair. But the cold, harsh truth loomed overhead. Time was running short. The Crenithans would never allow such transgressions to go unnoticed. Weeks passed in a blur of clandestine meetings and whispered plans. The sparks of hope flickered between Liam and Elara, each exchange igniting a brighter flame. Yet with this connection came the ever-looming shadow of the Crenithan regime. The oppressive presence of the warship was a constant reminder that time was against them. On a particularly tense day, Liam crouched behind some machinery deep within the confines of the repair ship. It was early morning, and the sounds of crew members moved rhythmically like clockwork. He made his way to Elara, the need for her presence tinged with an urgency no longer ignorable. "Elara," he whispered as he swung around the corner, his heart thumping in his chest. She looked up, a smile breaking through the weariness of her captive state. In moments like these, her beauty shone even brighter. "Liam, you came." She leaned closer, eyes sparkling with excitement. "I have news." "You do?" He leaned in, breathless with anticipation. "What is it?" "The guards are becoming complacent. I overheard them boast about how no one would dare challenge their might. The next few days will be crucial for us. There is a shipment of weapons coming aboard. They'll be busy with that, and a perfect time for us to strike," she explained. "Then we must get organized. If we can mimic their actions and create distractions, I think we can leverage that to our advantage," Liam said, adrenaline surging. "I'll scout the area then. There's got to be a weak point in their security." "I do know a few," Ilara said, her fingers dancing thoughtfully over the chains that held her. "There is an access hatch on the north side of the ship. It is usually left unmonitored but requires a code to enter. I can help you get it," she added, her voice firm yet tender. Liam nodded, feeling a thrill run through him. "What do we need? Tools? Supplies?" "Yes, and information," Ilara responded. "I have seen the concentration of guards during weapon shipments. If we can't keep their eyes elsewhere, we risk their attention. We will need a distraction." The high stakes fueled an excited determination within Liam, who began to draft a plan in his mind. "We can create fire in the engine room. It will draw them away. I've been studying the flow of their operations, and this could work." "What if you get caught?" Ilara interrupted, concern knit into her brow. "You cannot risk your life for me, Liam." "It's worth the risk if it means freeing you," he replied passionately, meeting her gaze. Ilara fell silent for a moment, searching his face. Then her expression shifted, her resolve hardening. "Then we are in this together. These chains bind me, but your strength can help unhinge the door that holds me captive." Liam couldn't help but smile, ignited by her determination. Together, they were forming a plan that felt possible, a rallying cry against the tyranny of the Krenethans. As the appointed day drew nearer, tension filled the air thick like mist. Liam began gathering tools while feigning normalcy around the crew. He excelled at his work, yet his mind constantly flitted back to Ilara. Her presence became a beacon of hope that lit his darkest thoughts. Finally, the day arrived. The cargo ship filled with armaments bore down upon them, under the watchful eye of the Krenethan commanders. As the crew prepared for the influx of weapons, Liam positioned himself along the engine room, heart pounding violently against his ribs. "Now or never," he murmured, gathering the combustibles he'd sought. He began priming the area for a controlled fire to draw the guards without causing irreparable damage. Each moment stretched like an eternity, every heartbeat echoing the tension that hung in the air. With a flick of the switch, he ignited the materials, flames chasing away the darkness momentarily, disrupting the quiet monotony of the warship. Alarms blared, lights flashing wildly in response, chaos erupting as crew members scrambled to contain the fire. "Ilara, it's time!" Liam shouted through the din, excitement and fear intertwining as they executed their plan. He dashed toward the north side of the ship where Ilara awaited him, her chains shimmering in the light that flickered like errant stars. The guards, distracted and panicked, hastened their movements, leaving the security protocols weak for a brief moment. Their window of opportunity. "Now!" Ilara yelled, extending her hands toward him. Liam fumbled with the restraints, struggling against the mechanisms that held her captive. "Come on!" he urged as he felt the weight of seconds slipping through his fingers, the sound of rapid footsteps drawing closer. With a desperate wrench, he connected the unlocking device he had managed to conceal, and the chains fell away, clattering to the ground like forgotten destinies. Ilara's eyes lit up, a radiant smile spreading across her face. "I knew you would come for me." "Let's just run," Liam cried, grasping her hand firmly as they surged through the chaos, weaving through the confusion of angry shouts and blaring alarms. They reached the north side, just as the guards began to regroup, panic painting their faces. Liam yanked open the access hatch, revealing a tunnel that promised escape from the oppressive atmosphere of the warship. "Ilara, you first," he urged, pushing her gently into the darkness of the tunnel. He followed closely behind, adrenaline flooding through him, each footfall echoing the monumental shift in their fates. They crawled through the narrow passageway, the oppressive weight of the warship's malevolence nearly suffocating. "We need to reach the upper deck," Ilara whispered urgently, her eyes gleaming with purpose. They exited through an emergency hatch, finding themselves in a dimly lit corridor lined with heavy doors. Their hearts raced in sync, each breath filled with the gravitas of their endeavor. But from the corner of his eye, Liam glimpsed a group of guards rushing towards them. "Liam," Ilara hissed. They had to act quickly. "Distract them," he commanded, formulating a plan. Ilara nodded. "I will use my knowledge. Trust me." She pulled him into a dark alcove, the guards hustling past, barking orders to one another. Liam watched her as she prepared, steadiness etched on her face, before breaking free from their hiding spot. Ilara began creating distractions, mimicking sounds and leading the guards away. Liam observed, awe and fear in balance. She was a warrior destined for liberation. They stole away, slipping from one shadow to another, their hearts pounding with burgeoning hope. They could reach freedom together, but only if they remained undetected. Yet the sense of urgency brewed within him. He could not stand aside as she distracted the forces aiming to capture them. "Ilara, split up. I'll draw their attention," Liam shouted, racing forward only to see the realization of her fear resurface. "Trust me," he insisted, his determination shining clearer than any fear. With a final nod, she vanished deeper into the shadows. It was the moment of truth, for their fears, their hopes, their shared spirit hinged on the united belief they could escape this hell. As Liam made his move, he suddenly felt alive. The roar of rebellion surged through him, a force of nature against the tyranny, running side by side with the warrior of his heart. The narrow corridors of the Dominion's reach buzzed with energy as chaos erupted from the alarm blaring through the ship. Liam's heart raced in tandem with the pounding in his ears, the world around him a blur of panicked shouts and the clatter of booted feet. He sprinted down the dim hallways, adrenaline surging with each escape from pursuit, narrowly avoiding guards who skidded past, emboldened by confusion. Ilara was somewhere in the shadows, a fierce warrior and brilliant tactician, her presence imbued with strength, pushing Liam to overcome every instinct that screamed of fear. Finally, he ducked into an alcove, pressing his back against the cold metal wall. From his vantage point, he spotted a security panel that connected to the ship's mainframe, the heart of its operations. If he could manipulate its controls, they could create a diversion strong enough to ensure their escape. His mind raced as he recalled Ilara's guidance, the ship's navigational routes, the energy systems, and weaknesses. Come on, he breathed, prying open the access panel with a tool he had scavenged earlier. The screen flickered to life under his fingers, revealing layers of security codes and schematics. He frantically began typing, overriding systems and diverting the energy flow to create chaos in other sectors of the ship. "Liam, what are you doing?" Ilara's voice suddenly broke through, startling him. She emerged from the shadows, glowing with both fear and resolve. "Creating a distraction," he replied, focused on the screen. "We need to disrupt their communications and create more confusion. The other guards will be scrambled, which gives us time to find a way off the ship." "Let's make it count," she said, peering over his shoulder, fingers entwined as though holding onto their hope. With each keystroke, they steered towards their freedom, their combined focus igniting something greater than either of them had known. As Liam hacked deeper into the system, new barriers appeared, security protocols magnetically locked behind stringent coding. An ominous feeling began to curl in his stomach. There's a higher authority who is monitoring all activities. If I can't bypass this quickly, we'll be caught. "What can I do to help?" Ilara asked, determination hardening her features. "Distract the guards. Draw them away from here. If I can establish a signal interruption, we can access the shuttle bay in the chaos." He swallowed hard, the weight of their plan settling like a boulder in his mind. "But we need to act fast." Ilara nodded, her resolve unyielding. "All right, I can do that." She slipped into the corridor with a mix of stealth and courage, a force of nature in her own right. Liam watched her go, inspiration surging within him. Here was a woman, a warrior, who refused to succumb to the binding chains of fate. He focused on the screen before him, fingers dancing over the interface. Commands flowed like water, and he felt the ship respond to his movements, the pulsing lights of imminent chaos beckoning him. come on, he murmured, his pulse quickening as he bypassed the final barrier. With a crackle of energy and a rush of nerves, the lights flickered and then dimmed, plunging the surrounding area into darkness for a brief moment. Yes! The floodgates of adrenaline burst forth. The entire ship erupted into disarray. Alarms blared even louder, sirens echoing through halls as he secured his hold on the mainframe. Suddenly, over the comm system, he heard Alara's voice cutting through the chaos, strong and fierce. "Attention all guards. A breach has been detected in the engine room. Divert to investigate." Liam felt invigorated by her brave deception, trusting that it would buy them both precious time. He could practically hear the guards scrambling to respond to her diversion, their attention split, every second a testament to their growing bond. Taking a deep breath, Liam slipped from his hiding spot, now aware of the danger looming in the dark corners of the corridor. He moved swiftly, tracing the route to the shuttle bay, slipping into shadows, heart soaring with purpose. The sneaking feeling of hope ignited sparks within him. Together, they were fearless. Together, they had the potential to rewrite their fates. As they neared the shuttle bay, he could see the entrance up ahead, the familiar hum of engines vibrating through the walls. But suddenly, at the corridor intersection, he stumbled upon a squad of guards, weapons drawn, eyes sharp. "Freeze! Identify yourself!" The lead guard barked, surfacing from another doorway. Liam's heart raced, but instinct kicked in. He quickly reached for the nearest tool, a wrench, its weight comforting in his palm. "Go!" he shouted, urging Alara onward. "No!" she protested but met his fierce gaze. "No distractions now. We need to keep moving." In an instant, she launched herself toward the guards, strength and agility melding together in a rush of power. She struck out with fierce determination, hands moving like lightning as she incapacitated the first guard, then the second with an acrobatic twist, disarming them before they could react. "Get to the shuttle!" she yelled with fervor, her warrior spirit lighting the corridor. Liam remained momentarily dazed, spellbound by her grace and ferocity, but regained composure quickly. Charging after her, he followed her lead, pushing through where she had cleared the path, adrenaline pumping, his heart tuning to the rhythm of liberation. Together, they fought through the guards until reaching the shuttle bay doors, a promising sight beckoning them closer. "Alara, we made it!" Liam exclaimed as they burst into the expansive bay, shrouded in the heat and noise of engines revving, shuttles of varying sizes ready for takeoff. But as they approached, the sight of the Krenithan shuttles caused tension to writhe through Liam's stomach. They weren't alone. The enemy was amassing battle-ready, eager eyes prowling for intruders. "Alara!" Panic rippled through him as he noticed them, and instinctively reached for her hand. "We must be careful." She held his gaze firmly, the impact of their shared desperation and bravado connected on a primordial level. With a brief nod, they moved between the shadows of the shuttles, ducking down, hearts racing in sync. Just as they neared a small cargo shuttle in a secluded corner, alarms from the hallways echoed through the bay. "Just a little farther," Liam urged. Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching from behind. The soldiers were regrouping, and it wouldn't be long before they reestablished order and hunted them down. They clambered aboard the shuttle with urgency, Liam frantically working to set the ship in motion. "I can pilot this," he shouted over the blaring alarms. "I'll cover you," Alara declared, already moving toward the exit ramp, hands poised for action, her fierce warrior demeanor igniting Liam's courage. With his heart racing and hands shaking, Liam initiated the launch sequence, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Sensing the impending danger, the engines roared to life, sending vibrations humming through him. Come on," he pressed as he glanced toward the hatch, seeing Alara poised, determined yet aware of the risks that loomed. With final powers of focus, he engaged the thrust. The shuttle peeled away from its dock, barreling toward freedom. "Hold on," he shouted as they sped away, the sound of approaching guards fading behind them. The feeling of liberation surged through him. They were closing in on their escape, but as they broke free of the warship's grip, He realized that this was only the beginning. Now, they would face an uncertain future together. The shuttle pierced through the atmosphere, the roaring engines propelling Liam and Elara toward the stars, a stark contrast to the dark confines of the Dominion's reach. Relief washed over Liam, but it was swiftly accompanied by the weight of reality settling around them. Did we make it? Elara breathed, her eyes scanning the vast expanse of space outside the viewport. The warship faded into the distance, a menacing shadow now left behind. We're free for now, Liam replied, allowing himself a moment of hope. But as they plotted their course away from the Krenithan stronghold, he couldn't shake off the tension that lingered like a specter at the back of his mind. What do we do next? Elara asked, her tone shifting from exhilaration to pragmatism. The flickering lights of the control panel danced over her features, illuminating the fierce determination in her eyes. We need to contact the human resistance, Liam said, grasping the controls. They can help us. Give us a place to regroup. Elara nodded, but uncertainty crossed her face. And what if they don't accept me? I am a Ruzin, a trophy of a warship, even now. They will, Liam assured her, but doubt snaked into his heart. Would they see her as an ally or an enemy? Something deeper than just their shared struggle connected them now, a bond forged through survival and trust. As they soared through the void, Elara moved closer, her thigh brushing against Liam's as she peered at the navigation panel. The sensation sent waves of heat coursing through him. There was intimacy in their proximity that evoked feelings he hadn't fully confronted until now. We are safe for the moment, right? Elara asked quietly, her hand gently resting on his arm. The gesture sent a shiver down his spine, awakening an undeniable attraction. The irresistible pull of two beings caught in the throes of another kind of battle. Safe, yes, Liam replied, throat dry as he felt the intensity of her gaze. Her fierce beauty and vulnerability intertwined, unmasking the wildness that dwelled within him. But we can't let our guard down. They'll come for us. Elara inhaled deeply, eyes narrowed. I long for the freedom to exist without fear. With you, it feels possible. Together, we can fight for that freedom, he said, heart pounding, the atmosphere charged between them. You're more than just a warrior. You're incredible, Elara. I admire your strength. Her expression softened, and in that moment, the distance between them collapsed. They were no longer mere shipmates or allies. They were two souls intertwined in a moment of tenderness that begged for more. With all that has happened, I feel more alive than ever. You awakened something within me, she confessed. Suddenly, pragmatism clashed with emotion, an undeniable desire coursing between them as their eyes locked. The need to connect surged, overpowering element after element until only primal instinct remained. Liam, Elara's voice dropped to a whisper, almost as if they were on the verge of crossing boundaries neither anticipated. But in the stillness of the ship amidst the stars, something unbreakable urged them to embrace the intimate storm between them. He leaned closer, drowned in the heat of her presence. Elara! Before he could finish, she surged forward, gripping his collar, lips crashing against his with desperate passion. The kiss ignited a fire in his chest, a melding of human and Ruzin essence that transcended everything they were. In a moment fueled by longing and survival, the world slipped away. The only reality that mattered was their connection, raw, unabashed, and fertile with unspoken promises. As they pulled apart, breathless and wide-eyed, they recognized the depth of their choice. We're mating, Liam breathed, still reeling from the intensity of their connection. Yes, Elara replied, fervor lighting her features. This bond, it is a mating of souls, a defiance of everything that binds us. The words hung in the air, a powerful acknowledgement of their union, sealing their commitment amidst the chaos of their circumstances. They were no longer mere captor and captive. They were allies, lovers, intertwined in the pursuit of freedom. But the moment of intimacy swiftly faded as the reality of their situation crashed back. Liam, they'll be tracking our coordinates. Elara snapped back into focus. We need to act. This can't be the end. He nodded swiftly. Yes, we'll adjust our parameters, go off-grid. They shared an understanding glance, bound not only by love, but by their shared purpose, a mission to change their worlds and fight against the Crenithans. As they charted the shuttle's course, a newfound resolve settled over them. With a warrior by his side, Liam felt unstoppable. The mating of their spirits, uniting them for the battles yet to come. The cockpit of the shuttle hummed with electricity as Liam and Alara navigated their path through the cold depths of space. Every moment was a mixture of urgency and exhilaration, a shared understanding that their time was running short. Keep an eye on the scanners, Liam urged, his focus glued to the controls as they hurtled through the void. We need to stay one step ahead of the Crenithans. Alara scanned the monitors, her heart racing. Coordinates indicate they're still tracking our last flight path. We need to create another diversion. They'll expect that, Liam replied. We'll bait them. If we can lure them into the asteroid belt nearby, we could use the debris to mask our signatures and make a run for it. As she nodded, the tension between them crystallized, merged with the urgency of the situation. Then let's make it count, partner, she said, her warrior spirit igniting once more. They plotted their course, moving toward the jagged field of asteroids, the very sight of danger palpable in the air. As their proximity alarms blared, Liam felt adrenaline surge through his veins, his confidence bolstered by Alara's fierce gaze. We're close, here they come, Alara exclaimed, pointing to the screening sensors as they detected ships trailing them. The Crenithans were closing in, their sleek fighters gliding through space like predators on the hunt. Hold tight. Liam gripped the controls, ready to face the storm ahead. They barreled towards the asteroid field, navigating a treacherous path between boulders of rock and debris. The Crenithan fighters pursued fiercely, firing weaponry that sparked across the darkness of space. Liam deftly maneuvered, swerving and dodging, his heart pounding in sync with the explosion that echoed through the cockpit as the energy blasts connected with nearby asteroids, fragments raining down like a deadly storm. Faster, Alara urged, eyes focused on the danger behind them, her fierce energy igniting Liam's determination. He engaged the hyperboost at the last moment, a surge of force propelling them deeper into the heart of the field, where visibility waned. Stay sharp, Liam shouted over the noise, navigating through the rocky labyrinth, feeling their ship jolt as debris grazed against them. But the Crenithan fighters were relentless, honing in on their trail like vultures. They're gaining on us, Alara shouted, her voice etched with urgency. With every fiber of his being, Liam gritted his teeth and pressed on, steering them through perilous paths of spinning rocks. He was drawing upon everything he learned, his instincts, fueled by a primal need to protect Alara and themselves. Turn right now, she shouted, recalling a jagged opening she had spotted in the chaos. Liam obeyed, veering the ship hard, the force of the movement throwing them against their seats as they cut through the narrow passage. They emerged on the other side, the asteroid field clearing briefly, but the Crenithan fighters weren't deterred. The sound of cannon fire echoed as they continued their chase. Prepare for evasive maneuver, Liam announced as the ship shook violently under the barrage of energy blasts. They're closing in, Liam. There's no way through, Alara cried, urgency coloring her words. Liam's mind raced, calculating their options. We'll have to make a stand, he resolved. If we can draw them into the debris, we can hit them with everything we've got. What about retreating? Alara asked, fists clenched. We fight for our freedom, for our future, he declared, half yelling over the shriek of the ship's systems. With newfound desperation, they turned against their pursuers, maneuvering toward the center of the asteroid field. It was a dance of fate, and together, they made it a powerful show of defiance and unity. Liam activated the ship's tactical systems, setting up a trap, as the Crenithan fighters followed, enveloping them with the cover of debris. Liam initiated their weapon systems, waiting for the perfect moment. Now, he yelled, launching torpedoes into the approaching ships as they ventured deeper into the field, engulfed on all sides. The asteroids began to collide, bouncing from their chaotic table, and the Krenithan fleet began to break apart under the debris. "It's working! Keep firing!" Ilara shouted, her spirit aflame, igniting confidence and resolve within them. They fought together, firing consecutive blasts at the remnants of the fortress, asteroids fragmenting beneath roaring power. Bellowing explosions filled the air as they saw the Krenithan fighters tumbling, their advanced ships caught in a deadly dance of chaos. But just as they began to believe victory was within their grasp, a larger Krenithan cruiser, hidden behind the rubble, emerged, glaring down at them like a ravenous beast. "It's a trap," Liam gritted, dread pooling in his gut. "Hold steady. We can't let them intimidate us." Ilara screamed, a mantra of strength. He recalibrated his aim, determination coursing through his veins from the bond they had forged, the mating of not just their souls, but their fight against tyranny. "We're not backing down." The cruiser fired, beams of energy spiraling towards them. Liam dove the ship into sharp turns, evading the blasts with skilled navigation, but the weight of the battle bore heavily upon them, the Krenithan forces relentless. "Focus!" Ilara's voice pierced through the storm of sound, her warmth reigniting his resolve. "We can do this together. You trained for this, Liam." With a spark of newfound adrenaline, tears of rage mixed with drops of hope, he pushed harder into the chaos, weaving through enemy fire, looking for any weakness in the cruiser's defenses. "Now!" Ilara roared, activating their last torpedoes, the controls glowing bright with her fierce energy. "Firing!" Liam activated the launch sequence, unleashing everything toward the large ship. The torpedoes raced off into the open void, colliding with the cruiser, exploding in a spectacular display of light and sound, sending shockwaves through space. The engineer's view exploded in a cacophony as their ship teetered under the force. Yet, through the haze of debris and fire, he caught a glimpse of Ilara, her face fierce, illuminating a path through the chaos, the embodiment of his hope. "We did it!" Liam cried, exhilaration sweeping over him as the cruiser began to break apart, Krenithan ships caught in the fiery dance. They surged forward, breaking free from the debris field, hearts soaring as they left the remnants of the battle behind. "Together, we faced the storm." Ilara marveled, eyes wide as they entered the serenity of space once more. "Together always," Liam whispered, their connection unbreakable, bound now by love and resilience. As they charted a new course toward the human resistance, they faced the future with relentless vigor, two warriors, united against a shared tyranny, forging their destiny in the stars. The stars twinkled above as Liam and Ilara piloted the shuttle toward the last known coordinates of the human resistance. After their harrowing escape from the Krenithan cruiser, the weight of hope pressed heavily upon their hearts, igniting a fierce desire for freedom. "Just a little farther," Ilara murmured, her eyes scanning the vastness of space, the light of distant galaxies reflecting the fire burning within her. "We can make it." Liam nodded, adrenaline still coursing through his veins, but a flicker of doubt lingered. "What if they don't accept me?" she mused, vulnerability creeping into her voice. "What if they view me as a threat?" He turned to her, fierce determination igniting within him. "You fought off Krenithans. That alone should earn you a place with us. You are a warrior, Ilara, and a symbol of defiance against oppression." Ilara met his gaze, her spirit rekindled by his belief in her. "And you, Liam, are not just a mechanic. You are my partner in everything. Together, we'll change their minds." As they entered the pull of a distant planet, lush and vibrant with life, they were met with more than just the landscape. They approaching the dawn of a new existence, forged in fire and filled with promise. The resistance base loomed ahead, a haven formed by those who still believed in freedom. As Liam docked the shuttle, they exchanged a glance, a silent pact sealed between them. Stepping out, they were met by wary yet curious eyes. As the humans approached, tension hung in the air like electricity. "Wait, who is that?" a voice called out, mistrust flickering amidst the crowd. Ilara straightened, confidence blossoming. "I am Ilara of the Ruzin," she proclaimed, heart pounding. I fought against the Crenithan regime and won my freedom, alongside my partner Liam. A murmur rippled through the crowd, skepticism mingling with intrigue. But more than just acceptance, Liam felt something deeper, a connection with Alara, charged by the struggles they had overcome together. "We're here to help," he said strongly, stepping to her side, as they faced the resistance as a unified front. In that moment of uncertainty, Alara took Liam's hand, a symbol of their bond, the mating of hearts and spirits intertwined. They would fight not just for their futures, but for every being yearning for freedom, for a world where all could love freely without chains. Together, they walked forward, united by purpose and passion, ready to confront whatever lay ahead in their shared destiny.